Before India was a republic, before our constitution had been inked, the country was governed by the British Empire and by kings who chose silence over freedom. While millions starved in Bengal, grain was being shipped away to London. When Indians marched peacefully, their steps were met with bullets in Jallianwala Bagh, in Bombay, in the villages of Punjab. Salt was taxed, speech was banned, and truth became treason. But the British weren't the only oppressors. They were those who were propped up and backed by the British. In the southern kingdom of Travancore, a Divan ruled its people with an iron fist that rested in a velvet glove. There was no freedom here, no vote, no voice. And that is when she emerged, Madame Annie Mascarene. She was far from what one might have imagined a rebel to be. She was a schoolteacher, a lawyer. She was a woman. She came from a simple coastal Christian family, raised in faith and quiet duty. But Madame Annie believed that freedom was not just for some, it was the birthright of all. So she cast aside her fears and stood up, not just to the British, but to the throne of Travancore itself. She demanded democracy in a kingdom that, till that time, knew not what it was. She led the masses. She took to the streets, streets that were overrun with spies and soldiers. She joined the Travancore State Congress, where just speaking against the throne meant instant arrest. She demanded a responsible government in a state where only royals could hold power. And when the Divan tried to keep Travancore independent and out of India, Madame Annie didn't just protest, she erupted. They tried to silence her. She was physically beaten, thugs breaking into her home. They smeared her name. She was repeatedly arrested and ended up spending 18 months in jail on charges of sedition for speaking the truth. But she never once backed down. On being released, she announced, "This land will not be ruled by crowns or colonizers. It belongs to its people." And they listened. Under her leadership, Travancore exploded in protest. Its people marched. The Divan's grip began to slip. And as the march for freedom became louder, Travancore surrendered. Not to the crown, but to the dream of a free India. And when the India she dreamt of was finally free, she would help draft the very constitution that she once fought for. She was one of the only few women at that sacred table. She would go on to be one of the first women in India's parliament, the first woman MP from Kerala. Madame Annie Mascarene was not just a woman ahead of her time, she was a storm in a sari, a warrior not on horseback, not bearing a sword, but she brandished her conviction boldly. She didn't wait for permission. She stood tall for freedom, for a people, for a land, for India. She made history with her every move. Madame Annie Mascarene.